So everybody, Loader for Life here, bringing guys a brand new blast from the past. Today we are talking about Gravekeepers. Gravekeepers are a fan favorite anti-meta deck, and the deck is really good. But however, a lot like Elemental Heroes, they have a lot of they have a lot of cards. Well, not as much as Elemental Heroes, let's be honest. But however, a good number of their cards are just not good and are not played. But, however, they still have a pretty decent amount of good cards, and, well, they're just a really good overall Dark Spellcaster archetype with 1 Earth for some reason. So, enough babbling, let's get on to the actual blast from the past. So, Gravekeeper's Oracle, this guy is the newest boss monster for the deck, and, like, really, I guess you could say the true boss monster of the deck, but, however, he's also not really very often played, and that's because he needs at least, well, he needs 3 to 1 tributes, and there's no in between. You gotta either tribute 3 monsters or 1 monster, and they all gotta be Gravekeeper's monsters, and the worst thing about it is that Gravekeepers are not very good at flooding the board. I mean, maybe if they ever got Pendulums one day, Oracle would be a lot better, but however, right now, just based off of that, he's not really played very much. But, however, what he does do is very interesting. So, as I said, you can either tribute 3 monsters or 1 monster to tribute, summon, but not set this card. And they all have to be Gravekeepers. I believe so. Because it does, the wording on here is kind of weird. It says you can tribute 3 monsters or 1 Gravekeeper's monster. But, however, you're still going to want to tribute just Gravekeeper's monsters because you have to in order to get his effects. So, when this card is tribute summon, you can activate any number of these effects and resolve them in sequence up to the number of Gravekeeper monsters tributed for the summon. This card gains attack equal to the combined levels that all monsters tributed for its tribute summon had on the field times 100. Destroy all set monsters your opponent controls. And finally, all monsters your opponent currently controls lose 2,000 attack and defense. So, here's the big thing about this guy. He is a big reference to the Egyptian god cards. Heck, if you look in the background, you can even see tablets with the Egyptian god card colors, blue, yellow, red. So, obviously, Obelisk, Ra, and Slifer. So, that is very interesting, and also all 3 of his effects are references to the Egyptian god card effects. The attack gaining effect is a reference to Ra's effect, more specifically Ra's anime effect, where he gained the attack of attributed monsters. Destroy all set monsters your opponent controls, that's a reference to Obelisk's effect, and then finally his last effect being basically a one-time use of Slifer's attack and defense reduction. So, yeah, that's very interesting, and combining all 3 of those effects into 1 monster is an interesting idea. The biggest issue, again, with him is that getting a decent amount of Gravekeepers out is not the easiest thing. Like, you're usually lucky if you have 1 or 2 Gravekeepers out, much less 3. So, really, honestly, that's the biggest thing that's holding him back. Now, if the deck ever got, like, Pendulums or something, I could see him being used, but right now, he's just not very great. He's more of a collector fan card than anything. Next up, we have Gravekeeper's Visionary. This one's another level 8. Well, this one's level 8. Oracle was level 10. Spellcaster Dark. You can normal summon this card by tributing 1 Gravekeeper's monster. This card gains 200 attack for each Gravekeeper monster in your graveyard. If this face-up card on the field would be destroyed, you can discard a Gravekeeper's monster instead. And it has a starting power of 2,000, but can easily gain quite a bit. Now, if you're going to play any of the boss monsters, Visionary is usually the one that a lot of people play because it has protection, it has a good amount of attack power, and it gets more of it as the duels go on. So it just keeps getting more and more powerful and can easily end games. Not to mention, you only have to tribute 1 monster to summon it. And just by tributing at 1 monster, you have at least 1 monster in your graveyard, so he's going to be always at 2,200 pretty much. And that is very good. Granted, though, I do wish he could protect himself from like other card effects and stuff. Yes, if he would be destroyed, he can discard a Gravekeeper. But however, I wish there was some way to prevent like targeting and stuff with him as well. Granted, though, he's honestly like I think the 2nd oldest Gravekeeper boss monster. So yeah, it's good. And if you're gonna play any of them, this one's the usual one that people play, and it's not bad, not great either, but it's not bad. Next up, we have Gravekeeper Shaman. This one was released alongside Oracle and a lot of the other new support. Shaman is very interesting. Yes, it's a high level, but it's not a boss monster like these guys. Visionary, Oracle, and Chief, although Chief honestly lost his boss monster status a long time ago. But Shaman is a level 6, 1500 by 1500, Spellcaster Dark. This card gains 200 defense for each Gravekeeper's monster in your graveyard. Negate all monster effects that activate in the graveyard except Gravekeeper's monsters. And while Necro Valley is on the field, your opponent cannot activate field spells. Also, field spell cards on the field cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So this card is very, very good for the fact that it protects Necro Valley, the main card of the deck and the main reason why people even bother playing this archetype. Now, Shaman, I just wish that I like this thing, okay? I just wish that it switched this card gains 200 defense for this card gains 200 attack. Yes, it's kind of like the opposite of Visionary, but however, Gravekeepers is while it can do stall when it wants to, it's a very generally offensive anti-meta deck. So I'd much rather have it gain attack than defense, that way so it can be on the offensive than defensive. But however, for what it's worth, this thing, like Visionary, can get up to really high amounts of defense, so it can be a pretty good wall. And also, if you have Necro Valley out, it's going to be at 2,000 anyways. And so, yeah, it's a generally really good monster. The issue is that it's level, and you're generally going to want to special summon it off of a monster effect. You almost never want to draw into it. So, usually if people play Shaman, they only play one of it. And even if, then that's if they do play it. Next up is Chief. Now, actually, one of my friends plays Chief, and he has won like way too many games with this card. I don't get it. But Chief is very interesting. So he's level 5, 1900 attack, 1200 defense, Spellcaster Dark. You can only control one Gravekeeper's Chief. That part I will never understand why, but whatever. Cards in your graveyard are unaffected by Necro Valley, which is really nice. When this card distributes summon, you can select one Gravekeeper's monster from your graveyard and special summon it. That's really, really good. I like this guy somewhat, but however, the biggest thing with him is that his stats are really, really low. Even with Necro Valley out, he is still, what, 2400? A Utopia could run him over. That is just really stupid. Okay, he should be at least 25, maybe 26. This guy, I like his effect, and I like how he's kind of like a Monster Reborn. You basically get back the monster you tribute summon for, used for tribute fodder. But however, the biggest issue, obviously, is the stats. Now, before we continue going on, I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the field spell. Everybody who has been in the game for a decent amount of time should know what Necro Valley does. But however, for those who don't know or who need a refresher, Necro Valley is the main reason why people play Gravekeepers, and the main, like, really, really good card. It's like the best card in the deck. Heck, people even will side it like they'll put it in their side decks for, even if they're not playing Gravekeepers, they'll put it in their side decks, is what I'm trying to say. And it's a really good field spell. It's arguably one of the best field spells in the game. So, Necro Valley. It's a field spell, obviously. All Gravekeeper monsters gain 500 attack and defense. Really, really, really good. That's helpful because the Gravekeepers have pretty low stats. Well, they have average to mediocre stats, honestly. So, cards in either player's graveyard cannot be removed from play. Cards in either player's graveyards cannot be affected by card effects except for their own. So, this card basically locks out the graveyard for both players. And that is very, very, very good because a lot of Gravekeepers say, hey, ignore Necro Valley. Hey, ignore Necro Valley. Hey, do this, ignore Necro Valley. It's really, really, really good. But however, that won't be the same for your opponent, so they're going to be locked out of their graveyard. And a lot of the meta decks heavily rely on the graveyard. So this card just shuts them down so hard. It is really, really, really good. And is really, really powerful. Now that we covered Necro Valley, we're going to jump back over to the monsters. So, the next one is Gravekeeper's Heretic. This guy is a TCG exclusive, or at least was. I don't know if he's out on OCG yet or not. But however, he was a TCG exclusive, released alongside all the new stuff that was released. Oh god, what was it? Shadow Specters, I think? It was a long, long time ago when all the new stuff came out. So, Heretic, the big thing that a lot of people like this guy for is his artwork. He looks like Merrick from the original series. So he is a Dark Spellcaster, level 4, 1800 attack, 1500 defense. This card on the field is unaffected by all other card effects as long as Necro Valley is also on the field. The sad thing about that is that it also counts your card effects. So, therefore, he won't get the attack boost from Necro Valley, which is such a shame because it'd be, what, 2,300? That is really, really good for a level 4. But no, they had to go and make him to where he's unaffected by your card effects too. Now, the nice thing is that because of this effect, if you have Necro Valley out and you know your opponent has like a Bottomless out, or maybe they have a Rafflesia out and they haven't used their Bottomless yet, you can normal summon him and you can do it without having to worry about Bottomless or anything, which is really nice. You also don't have to worry about Torrential, you don't have to worry about Dark Hole, pretty much anything. But however, the big thing is that he will always be at 1800 attack power, so he won't be running over just about anything at all. So really, honestly, he's okay for what he's trying to do, but I wish he was unaffected by just your opponent's card effects and not your own. That's so incredibly annoying. Next up is Gravekeeper's Ambusher, another one of the new ones from, I believe, Shadow Specters. I'm not entirely sure. Level 4, 1700 attack, 0 defense, Spellcaster Dark. I'm going to go ahead and stop reading off Spellcaster Dark with the exception of one monster, the next one. So Ambusher here. 1700 attack, very, very nice, but 0 defense, and that is the worst part about this guy, and you will see why with this effect. So, when this card is foot face up, so it's a flip effect, you can target one card in your opponent's graveyard, place that target on the bottom of their deck. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard after being foot face up, you can target one Necro Valley card in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. This card's effects cannot be negated by the effects of Necro Valley. So, he's able to pick out cards from your opponent's graveyard, and he's able to recur your own Necro Valley cards. But, however, it's all around him being foot face up, and he has 0 defense. Granted, though, the obvious idea is that he's ambushing your opponent, he's getting rid of a card out of your opponent's graveyard, and he's getting you a card back into your hand. That is very nice and all, but, however, that is so counterintuitive with his stat line. He has 1700 attack and no defense. That is so stupid. Like, seriously, it is so stupid. 1700 attack, and you want me to put this thing in defense. What? Like, I don't get that. Like, heck, if you just normal summon him out with Necro Valley's out, he's 2200. That is really, really, really good for a level 4. But, however, no, I gotta set him. It is so stupid. This card is really honestly not worth playing unless like you absolutely need to get back your Necro Valley cards. Granted, though, the 3 Necro Valley cards we have, aside from Necro Valley itself, are really good. So it's really hard to decide like if he's worth playing or not. I mean, I know most people don't play him, but however, being able to get back your Counter Trap, your the continuous spell card, and the field spell is really nice. So I'm kind of like on the sidelines. I don't know if I should play him, if I should not, and so I can't really say 100% for a fact if I recommend playing him or not. Granted, though, if you think it's worth it, I would say at least try 1. I would not really go above 1, if even that, really, honestly. But even then, he's just okay. Like, that's what I'm trying to get up. That's what I'm trying to explain. Anyways, next up is Gravekeeper's Commandant. This guy is unique for the fact that he is the only Gravekeeper monster with like Gravekeeper in the name that is a Earth. Every other Gravekeeper is Dark. So that is really confusing. And I remember hearing some people talk, and somebody proposed this theory that, that maybe he's Earth because they were afraid of him being abused with a Dark Arm Dragon. You know, you discard him, you could just discard all 3, bang, you instantly have 3 Darks for Dark Arm Dragon. I don't know if that's true or not, because I don't know who came out first, this guy or Dark Arm, so I can't say anything for a particular fact. Anyway, so level 4, 1600 attack, 1500 defense, Spellcaster Earth. You can discard this card from your to the graveyard to add 1 Necro Valley from your deck to your hand. Really, really, really good card. You basically don't have to play Terraforming with him because of him. So you just discard him, add Necro Valley from your deck to your hand. I kind of wish they would have gone back and errated him so you could search out any Necro Valley card, but then that might be a little bit too broken. I don't know, but he's still really, really good, just being able to get your field spell to your hand right away. Very, very good. Next up is Gravekeeper's Assailant. This card used to be played at 1 by a lot of people. I don't know if people still play it or not, so I can't really say for sure on that. But anyways, it's level 4, 1500 attack, 1500 defense. If Necro Valley is on the field when this card declares an attack, you can select one face-up monster your opponent controls and change its battle position. The nice thing about Assailant is that you're able to attack into something that has a lot of attack points but low defense, attack it, change it to defense, and then attack over it. That is so incredibly helpful. Like if your opponent has Ignister or something out, you attack, you switch Ignister to defense, and you attack right over it. That is really, really good. The issue is that it targets, and it's only for face up. Now, granted, though, I don't know if it does indeed target, because select, it's using the word select, and select is the old way of saying targeting. But however, some cards that say select have not been set, like have not been errated, say targeting instead. So that it may target, it may not. I'm not entirely sure. I gotta double check that. But either way, it's still a really good card for getting over big stuff. And the issue again is that it's got to be face up, and it may target. I don't know. Anyways, next up is Gravekeeper's Descendant. This guy is arguably one of the best cards in the deck. So Gravekeeper's Descendant, 1500 attack, 1200 defense, level 4. You contribute 1 face-up Gravekeeper's monster you control, except this card, to destroy 1 card your opponent controls. This is really, really, really good. Just being able to get rid of good stuff. It doesn't target, so that is really, really good. And just being able to pick out cards from your opponent's field. Very, very good. Usually attack with him and whatever monsters you have, and then main phase 2 use his effect, tribute off your other guys, pop everything your opponent has. Really, really good effect. I just wish he could tribute himself off just so that he can kind of get that one last card. And the issue with him that I have is that, again, Gravekeepers do not have very good staying power on the field. Field presence is what I'm trying to say. So they don't really typically have a very large amount of monsters out on the field to tribute off for using his effect. And so you really got to be smart about when you want to do that and if you want to do that. But it does allow for a lot of tactics and strategy with the deck, which I very much like. Okay, now then the next 2 cards are 2 of the throwaway cards that nobody plays. So, Gravekeeper Spear Soldier, he's 1500 attack, 1000 defense, level 4. And he literally just does piercing. That's it. He does piercing to a defense position monster, which is nice, don't get me wrong. If you have Necro Valley out, he's 2000. But however, that's just not really... It does nothing for the actual deck. You know, like maybe if he did battle damage, you got special summon a Gravekeeper from hand, that would be cool, but no, there's nothing like that. He's just a piercer with a big lance, trying to compensate for something, I'm sure. Anyways, so next up we have Gravekeeper's Cannon Holder. This card I actually have, and it's been sitting in my binder for literally a year and a half because nobody wants it. This guy, he's level 4, 1400 attack, 1200 defense. You contribute a Gravekeeper's monster to accept itself or another copy of itself to inflict 700 damage to your opponent. Now, the interesting thing about this, and I'm surprised nobody has ever tried to do a burn deck around this, is that he is the only card that I know of that says you contribute a monster to inflict damage to your opponent that has not been errata to do it once per turn. Because both Cannon Soldier, his Toon version, and Catapult Turtle have all been errated so that they can only do it once per turn. This guy has not. So I don't really get why they did not errata him to once per turn. So I don't know. Maybe even Konami just forgot about this card. That's probably what happened. Even Konami forgot about this card. Next up is Gravekeeper Spy, level 4, 1200 attack, 2000 defense. Flip effect. Special summon 1 Gravekeeper's monster of 1500 or less attack from your deck. So this card is really, really good because while you have Necro Valley out, it is a 2500 defender, and so your opponent's not running over this. They just are not, unless they have something like an Ignister or an Ori Hawk on field or something. And when they run into this, you're gonna get a free monster. It flips face up, you get a free Gravekeeper's monster of 1500 or less attack from your deck. That covers a lot of the Gravekeepers. Like for instance the next guy, almost everything after it, and then like everything up to Commandant before it. So it can get a lot of monsters out. I could even grab another copy of it if you really wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could. Generally speaking, when people flip this guy over, they special summon either Descendant or Recruiter out, which we'll get to Recruiter here shortly, which are both really good targets for his effect. Next up, we have Gravekeeper's Guard. This guy used to be actually played quite a bit back in GOAT format because whenever he flips face up, you can target a monster and then return it to the hand. So basically, when he's a flip effect, whenever he flip face up, target a monster your opponent controls and return it to the hand. Again, it says select, and that's the old wording for targeting, and some cards have been re-errated to, I'd say, target, others have not. So it's like really confusing if select is indeed targeting or not. But however, this guy's pretty good. He's a flip effect, 1,000 attack, 1,900 defense. So yeah, he's going to be 2,400 defense with Necrophalia out. He's nothing really to kind of sort of like be impressed by, but however, he's not bad. He's good spot removal. I like him. Next up, we have Gravekeeper's Watcher. This card is actually one of the first hand traps ever, believe it or not. So, level 4, 1,000 attack, 1,000 defense. You know, it's like standard hand trap stats and stuff. Granted, though, most hand traps are like level 1, level 2. This guy's level 4 for some reason. When your opponent activates an effect, whereby, I love it how they say whereby, your opponent discards a card or cards from his or her hand, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard to negate the activation of that effect and destroy it. So the cool thing about this card is that it actually has some relevancy in the current meta. Granted, though, I don't know how long for. Granted, so basically, whenever your opponent activates a card effect that basically has them discarding a card effect, so they discard for costs, you chain this guy's effect, and then that monster or card or whatever gets their effect negated, and then they are destroyed. So, anybody else thinking ABC Dragon Buster? I mean, your opponent activates ABC Dragon Buster effect to discard a card, to target a card to banish it. You Chain Watcher, discard them. You not only negate your ABC Dragon Buster, but it gets your opponent's ABC Dragon Buster, but it gets destroyed. That is really good. Okay, I'm just saying, Watcher, he has potential to be a really good hand trap for certain formats, like for instance ones where there's a lot of discarding. So I do think that this guy, he's not terrible, but he's not like amazing either. He just has potential to be good. Like for instance, if I had any in this format, and if I was like still like actively going to tournaments and stuff, I'd probably be putting in my side deck just for ABC Dragon Buster. Granted, though, there's easier ways to get rid of ABC Dragon Buster, but this card's just really nice. I like it. Now, that is to say, does he do anything for the actual deck? No, he does not. So, maybe one day he will be used as a good side deck card, but right now, not really. I mean, like, really the only two cards I can think of in the meta that do anything with discarding is Twin Twister and ABC Dragon Buster. So, maybe if anybody wants to side him, they could. I don't know if anybody would. I mean, I just said I probably would, but I don't know. There's easier ways to get rid of ABC. Anyways, next up we have Gravekeeper's Recruiter. Level 3, 1,200 attack, 1,500 defense. When this card you control is sent to your graveyard, add one Gravekeeper's monster with 1,500 less defense from your deck to your hand. Very, very good card. He searches out your stuff. He can get just about everything in a deck, really. I think he can get everything in the deck except for Visionary and Spy and Guard. Wow, that is hilarious. So he can get everything barring 3 monsters. That is really, really good. So yeah, he's like a universal searcher. You can get it whenever you tribute him off for Descendant. It doesn't really matter how he gets to graveyard from field, so long as he goes to graveyard from field. I like him a lot. He's really, really good. And hey, with Necrophalia out, you have a level 3 of 1,700 attack. That's not bad. Next up, we get Gravekeeper's Priestess. Level 3, 1,000 attack, 1,500 defense. The field is treated as Necrophalia. If there is a face-up field spell, this effect is not applied. All face-up Gravekeeper monsters you control all face-up Gravekeeper monsters gain 200 attack and defense. Like a big It can help with the attack and defense, kind of, making it to where everybody you control gets 700 attack and defense with Necrovalley. But, I've heard of people, like, using it to, like, be able to really maximize off of this and this, but, like, really, honestly, it's not all that great. It just is not. I mean, I like the artwork, though, but that's about all it has going for it. Next up, we have Gravekeeper's Apostle. Level 3, 1,000 attack, 1,000 defense. When this card you control is destroyed by battle with an opponent's attacking monster and sent to your graveyard, you can spell summon one Gravekeeper's monster from your deck and face down defense position except Nobleman. Sorry, Nobleman, not Apostle. OCG names up there, TCG names down on the actual thing. So, the cool thing about Nobleman is that whenever it can just get your Spy, it can get your Shaman, it can get a lot of your stuff. Now the downside is that you can't just run it into something. You gotta let your opponent attack into it while it's face down. That is very, very annoying. So yeah, I mean, it's a good card and everything, but however, I don't like how your opponent has to attack into it. Why can't I kamikaze it? And on further reading, it does not have to be face down, but generally speaking, let's face it, it's going to be face down whenever you set it, so that your opponent will attack into it, unless you really want to take that fast into the face. Next up, we have Gravekeeper's Curse. This one's kind of funny. Level 3, 800 attack, 800 defense. When this monster is summoned, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. It's like, a lot of these, well, not a lot, but a semi-decent amount of, these old, like, original Gravekeepers have burn effects, or effects that, like, treat it as burn and stuff, or do some kind of burn thing. And it's like, Konami was, like, unsure of what they wanted to do with Gravekeepers at first. Which, okay, that's interesting, but, burn for 500 whenever it's summoned. Granted, though, it's not once per turn, and I guess if you could somehow summon it, what, like, let's see here, you have 8,000 life points. If you could somehow summon it, let's see, what's 8,000 divided by 5? Crap, I'm bad at math. To the calculator, let's see how many times you would have to summon this to burn your opponent to death. Because now I'm actually legitimately curious. So, in order to burn your opponent to death with Curse, you would have to summon this guy 16 times. Okay. Yeah, 16 times. That is, that's really kind of meh. He's not good. He's not good at all. Okay, so next up we have Gravekeeper's Vassal. Level 3, Spellcaster Dark. 700 attack, 500 defense. This card is the weirdest effect I've ever seen in Yu-Gi-Oh! Battle damage this card inflicts to your opponent is treated as effect damage instead. Yes, because this little 700 guy is going to be doing battle damage to your opponent, and it's going to be so much battle damage that it has to be treated as effect damage. I don't get that. Like, why? And then, oh, hey, if you happen to be dueling against DDDs and they have the arc out, which I don't know how you're going to do damage to your opponent, but then, oh, hey, you're going to be giving your opponent life points. It's so stupid. Why is this card even a thing? Like, seriously, why could it not be... Why? You know how this card could have been good. Okay, so it's a Vassal, so that means it serves the Gravekeepers. So wonder what this card should have done. This card should have done, whenever this card is normal summoned, you can spell summon one Gravekeeper from grave, ignoring Necro Valley. Or, better yet, you can tribute this card, spell summon one Gravekeeper from your deck, in face up or face down defense position. There you go. That would have been good. But no, it has to have its battle damage treated as effect damage. I don't get that. Why is this a thing? I don't get it. Next up, we have Charm of Sabti. So, this is another hand trap for some reason. It's level 1. It's a rocker. Okay, 100 attack, 100 defense. Discard this card from your hand until the end phase. Make the battle damage to monsters that include Gravekeepers and their card name 0. So, you can discard it. And then you don't take any battle damage from battles involving Gravekeepers until the end of the turn. That is nice and all, but it is not worth playing. It really is not. And heck, it's not even a Gravekeepers monster, so you can't search it off Recruiter or anything. So that's just not very good. This card would have been better as like a continuous trap card where, I don't know, once per turn you can discard a Gravekeeper, and then you take no battle damage for the rest of this turn. That would have been better, but granted though, it still would have been outclassed by, you know, Spirit Barrier, but still, it's very, very meh. Next up, we have Royal Tribute. This card is terrifying, and is one of the other reasons why people love playing Gravekeepers. So, Royal Tribute. Activate only while you control Necro Valley. Both players discard all monster cards in their hand. Yeah, that card is... There's a reason why this card's at 1. Heck, some people think it should be banned. Granted, though, Gravekeepers haven't done much of anything lately, and I don't think anybody's really playing it, but hey, whatever. Royal Tribute, it's a thing. This is a thing, and this card can auto-win games, and I've actually seen it happen. Well, I actually haven't seen it, but it's happened to a friend of mine. So, about a year or two ago, it was back just after the Gravekeepers got all their new stuff, and me and my friend were up at a regional, and my friend was playing Black Wings, and he was seeing some success for a little bit, and then he got to this Gravekeeper matchup, and he won game 1, he lost game 2, and they were going into game 3, and in game 3, this was just sad. Okay, so the Gravekeeper guy was going first, and my friend had nothing Blackwing monsters in his hand, and he was thinking, yeah, I'm gonna be able to OTK him next turn. It's gonna be stupid. He's gonna be salty. I'm gonna win. The Gravekeeper player activated Necro Valley, set a few cards, activated Royal Tribute. My friend had to discard his entire hand, and to make things worse, to rub salt in his wound after he surrendered, because he surrendered right then and there. He looked at what the next card was going to be. It was going to be a black whirlwind, so he was going to be able to go off on this guy so hard, but no, Royal Tribute had to say no. This card can single-handedly win games. It is that good, and it is just really scary. Should it be banned? Maybe one day if Gravekeepers ever become tier 1 or something, but right now, I think it's fine at 1. Heck, it might even go to 2 one day, and then I will encourage some people to play Gravekeepers a bit more. But I don't like this card any higher than 1. So, anyways, this next up, Gravekeeper Steel. Select 2 Gravekeepers monsters in your graveyard and add them to your hand. This effect cannot be negated by the effect of Necro Valley. That is really good. And it's just it combos so well with Command Deck, because you discard 2 Command Deck and then you activate discard, you add both of them back, and then you discard the third one, and then you add another Necro Valley. So you can literally dig through your deck so easily. Not only that, but also you can get back your stuff very easily. Your recruiters, your watchers if you play them, you know, that hand trap, your descendants, your assailants, you can get back anything. I like it how there's no restriction as to which Gravekeepers. Heck, they don't even have to have different names or anything, and there's no once per turn clause on this card. It is a really, really good spell card. I like it a lot. Very, very good. Next up is Gravekeeper Servant. This one's a funny one, and has actually been used in troll decks, but not so much in Gravekeepers. Continuous spell card. Your opponent must send the 1 card from the top of their deck to the graveyard to declare an attack. That is so trolly. I like it a lot. Granted, though, would I play it in Gravekeepers? Honestly, no. I mean, I would honestly probably want to. Thinking about it now, I kind of want to tech it, but no, it's not worth it. No, there's better things to play in Gravekeepers. That being said, though, if you're playing something like Empty Jar or something, this card is actually not terrible. But however, that Empty Jar is dead because Morphing Jar is banned. So yeah, this card is meh Gravekeepers, and it was better in a troll deck that's dead now. Next up, we have Hidden Temples of Necro Valley. Continuous spell card, activate only if both a Gravekeeper's monster and Necro Valley are on the field. Neither player can spell summon monsters except Gravekeeper's monsters. If either a Gravekeeper's monster or Necro Valley is not on the field, destroy this card. So, this card is very, very good. It's basically a Vanity's Emptiness, but a continuous spell card, and it's at 3. And, yeah, you can grab it back with Ambusher, and it doesn't lock you out of special summons, so long as you're just spell summoning Gravekeepers. Very good spell card, but however, the instant... It's so easy to get rid of. Oh, hey, MST, Necro Valley. Okay, it dies. Oh, hey, Dark Hole. Oh, hey, it dies. I really wish that it wouldn't die if you... I really wish that it would not die if you just lost 1. Okay? Now, if you lost both, I think that's how it should work. I think that if you lost both, then it should die, but however... It's so easy to get rid of, and heck, even then, you can just MST it. It doesn't have any protection itself. It's a very good continuous spell card, but however, it's just so easy to get rid of. That's the issue. Granted, though, a lot of people still play it at 1 or 2. Sometimes I've seen people play 1 and inside another. It's a good card, but it's not searchable, and it's just honestly not all that great. Not to mention Vanities is still better, because Vanities you can chain to. This card you cannot. So, like, for instance... if you're doing against like Predaplants or something, your opponent activates Poly, you chain Vanities, oh hey, they just negged themselves. This card, they don't even get the option to try to activate Poly, so really honestly this card is very, very meh. I like its effect, I like its artwork too, it's beautiful, that sunrise over the altar is really, really cool. But however, it's very meh. Now we get to the trap cards. They have 2 trap cards. Rite of Spirit. Select 1 Gravekeeper's monster in a graveyard and spell summon it. This card's an activation and effect are unaffected by Necro Valley. For some reason, nobody plays this card. I don't get why. I like it a lot. You just get any free Gravekeeper out of your graveyard back onto your field. It's a free summon. I don't get why nobody plays it. And heck, whenever I was trying to play it in Gravekeepers, people were like, oh no, don't play that. That card's crap. And I'm like, You get a Gravekeeper's monster and it's unaffected by Necro Valley. Explain to me how this is crap. That's like saying Monster Reborn is crap. I don't get it. Okay? Somebody please explain it to me. This card is really good. I like it a lot. Being able to bring back your shamans, bring back your visionaries, bring back your descendants, your heretics, whatever you're playing. You can bring back any of your Gravekeeper's monster, and that is really, really good. I like this card a lot. I don't get why people hate on it so much. Next up, and finally, we have Imperial Tombs of Necrovalley. This card is scary. So, it's a counter trap card. When a spell card, trap card, or monster effect is activated, while both a Gravekeeper's monster and Necrovalley are on the field, negate the activation. If you do, destroy it. You can only activate one Imperial Tombs of Necrovalley per turn. So this card is basically an Infernity Barrier for the deck. But, however, it's heavily restricted. So, like the Continuous Spell card, you need to have both a Gravekeeper's monster and Necrovalley out on the field. That's not hard to do, honestly, but however, still, that's very restrictive. And you can only activate one per turn. What? Okay? Gravekeepers need protection, and this card does provide protection. Very adequate protection, too. But, however, I can only activate one per turn, and I can only do so if I have my field spell and at least one monster out on field. That is really stupid, okay? Like, really, honestly, okay? I get the whole, you gotta have both things out on field, but however, if you're gonna do that, don't put a once per turn clause on this, okay? But, however, on that note, if you were gonna make it like just where I need a Necrovalley or a Gravekeeper, then yeah, keep it once per turn, but like, I feel like one or the other, not both. Okay, I don't get why other decks can have such really good counter traps, and then you got this, and it's just like, I mean, it's a good card, don't get me wrong, but it really could have been better. So that is Gravekeepers. Very, very good archetype, very interesting playstyle. You can see clearly why it's such a popular anti-meta deck. I like it a lot. It's a very interesting, cool GX deck. Yes, that's right. This actually originates from GX. And I really do like this archetype quite a bit. Now, what could be changed? What could be changed? That is like the big question, and something I always try to talk about with Blast from the Past. What could be changed? How could this be improved on? Well, first and foremost, they need better swarming capabilities. This deck does not have hardly any swarming capabilities. And as I mentioned earlier, I really truthfully feel like pendulums could be the way to go. And yeah, I know how much people hate pendulums, but hey, look, in a deck as slow as this, I really feel like pendulums can help out a slow deck. Now, that being said, though, yeah, they could also use some ways to search out their spells and trap cards. That's another big thing. They have no way of searching out their spells and trap cards. And even then, I don't know how they would do it, because not all their spells and trap cards have a similar theme. I mean, like, if you look at all the archetypes nowadays, like, they always have one specific name for their monsters, one specific name for their spells and traps, or they share a name. These cards do not. I mean, look, Rite of Spirit, Necrovalley, like, yeah, they were doing something with, like, the Necrovalley cards. Okay, give us some way to search out Necrovalley cards. You know, like Necrovalley itself, Imperial Hidden Temples of Necrovalley, Imperial Tombs of Necrovalley. You know, like, and that could be as simple as irradiating Commandant so it can search out any Necrovalley card. But however, at the same time, I would also feel like that they kind of sort of need a other way of getting their spells and traps. Now, with that being said, though, honestly, aside from that, I can't really think of much to improve upon this deck. Like, it does a lot well, and what it does, it does well. And so I like what it does. It's a very powerful and good deck, but however, it does need ways of being a bit faster and could use ways of searching out its spells and trap cards. Now then, thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. Tell me what you guys think about Gravekeepers. This was actually a video requested by one of my subscribers, so shout outs to you. I actually forgot your name. I'm sorry. But you requested it, so here it is. Sorry if I stutter from time to time. My mouth is sore. my throat's sore, so it's kind of hard sometimes to talk. But that's also why I haven't been really making too many videos, because I'm getting sick. God dang it, why do I always get sick on my breaks? Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day, and peace out.